Hey folks, Nathan here with the ebook reader blog. Got the Kobo Clara Colour for this review. So this is Kobo's 6-inch model. They also sell a 7-inch color model. They both came out at the same time. This one's $149. It's got the recessed screen. They got sort of a texture on the plastic coating, which is new for the Clara model. They have some black and white versions before this, and they also released a black and white version alongside this one. So on the bottom, you got the USB-C port. We've got this texture on the back. The device is also waterproof and it's repairable. You can take it apart and buy replacement parts for it. Power button's up here on the back, which is nice. The first gen Clara had it on the bottom and it was easy to accidentally press. So here's a close up of the color e-ink screen. If you've seen my comparison with the regular Clara black and white, you know that the color e-ink screens have a different look to them. They're just regular black and white screens with this color grid layer over the top, so you can kind of see the grid layer. And then they're darker with the front light turned off. We'll show the front light and screen a bit more later, but for now we'll crank up the front light. It does help the camera focus, and we'll just sort of start off with the main interface here. So this is a look at the home screen. Then you also have your library view. There's this dial on the right side of the screen you can use to jump around to different parts of your library. You can also switch over to list mode. So they have cover view and list view. The list view does show a little bit more information about the book, like what format it is and stuff. You can also use those arrows to go up and down the library list. Cover view is like a little bit nicer for the color screen. You can see the cover is a little bit larger. They got this Discover tab down here. So this is Kobo's ebook store, so you can shop for ebooks directly on here. Overdrive is also built in, so you can get your library books through Overdrive. So it is kind of nice having the color covers on here when you're shopping through the books, and you can see everything in color instead of grayscale like a regular e-reader. But I'm surprised they aren't highlighting color content more. They do have like the comic section and the kids section, but they don't seem to have like the popular type of comics. So I mean, the selection might be limited. The device does support CBR and CBZ files though, so you can sideload comics if you can find them DRM free from other sources. And that does work well. I have some CBR and CBZs on here. So yeah, kids books, comic books, definitely nice for color, but does seem to be somewhat limited in the color content category from Kobo store. But as far as the features go, you have the same kind of features on here software wise as all the other Kobos. Really isn't any difference at all. It does have the large print mode, so you can scale everything up. If you have some sort of vision issue, you can just scale the interface exactly how you want it over here in beta features. There's also a basic sketch pad in here, so if you wanted to write notes on the screen using your finger, you can. It doesn't support the stylus like the Kobo Libra Color. So the Kobo Libra Color has the full-fledged notebooks app from the larger Ellipsa, but the Color Clara does not. It just has this basic notepad. If you needed to save something, then you can just save it to your library, and then it'll show up in your library list like that. But it doesn't have any kind of color like options at all, so it's very limited. Just a very basic notepad, nothing like the advanced notebooks on the Libra Color, which is the 7-inch version. So with Kobo software, there's some different sorting and organization options. You have collections, series, you can view by authors, and of course just the regular list. And there's also some additional sorting options. You can sort by file type or title. You've also got the filter here, so you can, if you just wanted to see like your Overdrive books from the library, you got that option. Kobo also recently rolled out their Kobo Plus in the US, so you've got that for like a library of books that you pay for by the month. You got unlimited access, or like Kindle Unlimited. So we've got like the battery dial up here. You've got search, the front light adjuster. So when you're searching, you got the Kobo store, my books, current read, annotations, and dictionary. So that's just a look at some of the interface features here. Let's go ahead and jump into a color book. So obviously with the color screen, comics definitely pop a lot more than the grayscale e-readers, but it just sort of comes down to the type of content you plan on reading your Kobo. It is really nice to have the color compared to a regular black and white device, but something like a iPad or something like that's going to be a lot more bright and vibrant as far as the color goes. So you've got the option to zoom in as well on these comics if you wanted to increase the size of the text balloons a bit, and there's also landscape mode. The Clara model doesn't have a rotation sensor, so you have to rotate it manually. But that does work fairly well, and you can scroll up and down the page with it zoomed in like that. You can see it a bit better. So it's a little bit jittery, with e-ink, how it scrolls. It's not super smooth like regular, like an LCD screen, but I mean, it is usable that way, so it helps mitigate the smaller screen size on the Claro being only 6 inches. Sometimes that could be a limiting factor as far as like color content goes. I've also got the dark mode. You got the different refresh settings in here. You can set up different header options on your ebooks, and you got some different tap zones. So however you want to touch the screen to page forward and access the menu. So some different features and reading settings. So dark mode isn't going to invert the screen with comics, but I did notice that it will get rid of some of that white border, not entirely, but as you can see here, got rid of some of that white border around the screen, so it's black instead. I think it looks better that way, so it kind of depends on the comic. This particular one, it's black all the way around. I think it looks much better than having that white border, so you might experiment with having dark mode on with comics too. It's kind of nice having it blacked out instead of white around the edges. So Kobo's dark mode, the interface, it doesn't get inverted, so you do have everything else normal, but you load up your book and then you're back into dark mode again. It works pretty well with color e-ink because it kind of hides that grid layer and it just sort of I don't know, it looks like a regular ink screen in a way, more so than with the regular mode. You can use the pinch zooming to increase the font size. I used to hate how that worked on Kobos, but they smoothed it out. It works well now. You can hold down on like words to do your highlights. So with the color screen, that's the one advantage with reading ebooks, is being able to add multicolored highlights. They have 4 different colors here. This model doesn't support the handwriting on the screen like the Libra Color does, so that adds the multicolored notes as well, but you just have the highlights on the Clara model. So that's one thing to consider when trying to decide between the two of them. If you resize the text larger or smaller, the highlights will remain, so they get scaled up either way, so that's not an issue. Some of the other options on here, so we have the font adjustment menu. So you do have a whole bunch of different font choices. This is actually a side-loaded font that I added myself. It's my favorite font. So you can add your own fonts to the device. It has a whole bunch of pre-installed ones on here. Most of these ones are pre-installed. Actually, the Rakuten Serif is very similar to the Merriweather. It's just not quite as bold, but you can affect the boldness in here with the weight setting. So you can crank it down. I think it's right about there to default. You can crank it way up, get the text darker. It won't be quite as smooth that way, so you kind of have to play the balance of how dark you want it and how smooth you want the text or how sharp you want it to appear. You can adjust the front light level by swiping up and down the left side of the screen. With color ink, the screens are darker than regular ink screens. You can check out my Clara black and white versus Clara color review if you wanted to see that more in depth. You got the warm front light on here as well, and this one does have a very strong orange front light, stronger than the Clara black and white for some reason. You can adjust that setting manually on your own, or you can set it up to adjust automatically based on the time of day, and it will gradually add more warm color as the day goes on. So if you hold down a word, it'll bring up the dictionary. You can enter the full dictionary view by hitting this button here to go full screen. You can run different searches in the dictionary as well, and you also have the option to search or check annotations in your book and just scroll through the search results, jump around different parts of your book that way. And that does work pretty well. So another thing, if you're, you can hold down on a word and you can also access the web browser. So you can hit the Google search or the Wikipedia entry. It'll take you to Wikipedia, open up that basic web browser. That is a very basic web browser. You do have the, you can increase the font size right here. You have forward and back and refresh. The page will get kind of weird formattings at times, as you'll notice, but and then scrolling isn't very smooth. It's kind of really jittery, but it's definitely not on the same level as like the web browser on Onyx devices, which is actually pretty smooth. But I mean, it can get the job done if you just need to look up something on Wikipedia or Google real fast. So you got the annotations list here as well. So if you hit that button, it'll bring up all your annotations, all your highlights, bookmarks, and you got the table of contents list easily accessible from there as well. So Kobo doesn't have any way to export your highlights, unfortunately, but they are accessible on your other Kobos and on your Kobo apps. So as far as the color inks goes, it's definitely nice for, kids books and comics books, but I'm not entirely sure the 6-inch screen is, best suited for that type of content, but it's kind of your own choice. They do have the larger 7-inch model. So it just kind of depends on what you need, what you're looking for. I think it's really cool that Kobo offers the color model now. It's only $20 more expensive than the black and white model. So if you want to have color, you can. If you rather have like the superior screen with black and white, you can. So it's just sort of your own choice. Make sure to check out my comparison between the regular Kobo black and white and the Kobo Clara Color for a closer look. Also, I have a comparison between the larger Libra Color, so a different look at how the different screen sizes compare. So I'll put links to those in the description. Check out the ebook reader blog and the ebook reader YouTube channel. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.